And what the person who was running the CAC at the time said to me was, well, you can't sleep here tonight. And so my girl and I, we set out to sleep in the car. And about a little while after we left, I got a call from Ian Freeman saying, I just heard about this, and please come stay at my place. You know, at least the haters within the movement would take some time off when I got out of jail and give me time to regroup. And you know, instead, they were right on me, and that was kind of painful and difficult. Yeah.
Sorry, man. It's very brave. You didn't do anything wrong, and you know that.
Y'all haven't seen the last of it.
Only one camera allowed. You can't be using another.
I'm going to take my friend for 81 years, T-Ball.
Bob, stop distracting from this moment. Seriously. I love you, baby.
I love you too, sweetie.
Love you, man.
I'm so proud of you. You're a hero.
We love you, Rich.
Love you, man. See you soon, Love you, man.
Rich Paul does continue his activism in New Hampshire. Check out freestateproject.org.
The reason for moving lots of people to New Hampshire is I'm running out of people I haven't pissed off yet.
Well, Rich, he is a favorite, an inspiration to me. I moved to Keene back in 2011, partly due to the inspiration of Rich Paul and his 420 protests down in Keene. Seeing people openly smoke cannabis down in the central square made such a statement to me that it was, you know, normalizing this behavior that I think is quite normal. That people enjoying a beer in the park, that should be allowed, and people enjoying flowers that they light on fire and breathe either through a pipe or a cigarette, or if it's tobacco, a cigarette, or I don't care, who cares? As long as it's not blowing in your face, I could see you having an objection there. You know, don't blow smoke in people's faces, but who cares, you know, what they're smoking is they're not bothering anyone. So people enjoying cannabis in the park, seeing adults do that and just enjoy themselves, and seeing how, oh look, that doesn't hurt anybody, and it looks like everyone's having a great time, and that sort of bravery of changing the world through your actions, taking the consequences, that's what attracted me. I wanted to go and be a part of that. So yeah, Rich, wow, man. He's so monumental to be able to take on such danger. He was facing 81 years at his worst when he was facing all of those charges that you heard of from the FBI. 81 years, and he was able to say, no, I'm not going to take the plea of no jail time, the guilty plea. He wanted to take on the state in court and face them on their merits and have a jury nullification case to stand up on principle. And that's what it's all about for these people who move to New Hampshire for more freedom. They're doing it for principle. It's not out of, well, who knows, but everyone has their own motivation, I assume, but Rich Paul is an inspiration to me. Well, coming up, we're going to be talking about some other inspiring peaceful resistors and what's going on in the news of peaceful resistance, what's going on with CryptoCat. Now you can encrypt your Facebook chats. That's one more way to peacefully resist. We'll talk about that and more when Peace News Now returns. Stay tuned.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate, well, I know a guy who's really great. It's the realtor Mark Warden. Do you want a home with 20 acres, a lakeside cabin, any takers for renters, buyers, and sellers too? Mark Warden is the guy for you. PorcupineRealestate.com.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
We know you're out there. We can feel you now. We know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. We don't know the future. We aren't here to tell you how this is going to end. We're here to tell you how it's going to begin. We're going back to editing the next edition of Freedom's Phoenix digital magazine now, where we are telling the people what you don't want them to know. We're showing them a world without you, a world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries, a world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice we leave to you. Subscribe at freedomsphoenixeasy.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenixeasy.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Welcome back to Peace News Now. If you're joining us at lrn.fm, I'll let you know that our video line just opened up at peacenewsnow.com/live. That's where normally, during the entire broadcast of the show, you can join us in the chat room, watch live video of the program when there are videos like the one from Rich Paul. I get to share that with you, and then it's fun to interact. We've got a little question and answer section, so you can ask questions that appear live on the show, and then it even breaks the show up into questions so that like later on when you watch the show, you can jump ahead to all of the audience participation parts. I think it's pretty cool, so it's something new we're trying out, and I've done it a couple of times so far. You can check that out over at peacenewsnow.com/live. So, you can also Skype us Peace News Now or dial in Hi-Fi CivDis. Now, I started the program a little late. I say normally you can check it out during the whole broadcast of the show because during the first segment it wasn't available. I was a little late running into the studio, flipping on the switches, getting connected, and so I apologize since the video that you'll watch later on YouTube is missing a good chunk portion of the first segment of the program. So that's not there for you. That's gone forever. Will only exist in audio format, which you can find on the website under the archive section. So that all aside, why was I a little late? I was taking a nap. And one of the audience members in the chat room sent me a link to an article that I read earlier this week about lucid dreaming. And this isn't the same article that I read, but it's probably it's a link to the same topic. That scientists have discovered a way to induce lucid dreaming. Now, I've never seen the movie Inception. Everyone tells me I've got to see it. I was a big fan of lucid dreaming when I was a kid, learning about it. What it is, being aware that you're dreaming while you're dreaming. And the reason I was always interested in studying it is because there's this, what is the difference between reality and the dream world? I was just sleeping. How do I know that I'm awake right now? Well, there are some tricks that we know of, like flicking lights on and off, or reading really small print, or looking at digital clocks. They normally don't work. These are some tricks you can use to know if you're dreaming or not. Well, scientists have found some other way using electrical current, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But I think it's so important because dreams become reality. Not always, but if I want to achieve something, first I have to dream it. And the more powerfully I can dream it, the more reality I put and breath behind an idea, the more likely it is to become a reality. My subconscious starts to focus on that, and it gets to work making it happen. Or that's the theory anyway. So what if you could induce lucid dreaming and then make your dreams become reality? Would that give you an advantage on changing your world? I think it could. So here's the article from Gizmodo.com. Adam Clark Estes writes, "We're one step closer to on-demand dreaming you can control, after a recent study showed that applying a mild electrical current to the scalp can induce lucid dreaming." It sounds a bit like Inception, only with more science and less espionage. It also sounds pretty fun. The study itself was pretty simple, based on previous research that suggested lucid dreaming was a unique state with properties of both REM sleep and waking. Dr. Ursula Voss of Johann Wolfgang Goethe University in Germany and her team applied electrical stimulation to the brains of 27 subjects while they slept. Neither the experimenter nor the subject knew how much of an electrical shock was being administered, if any at all, but brain scans showed an increase in brain activity in the frontal and temporal areas around 40 hertz. That also happens to be the same frequency at which Dr. Voss's previous experiments showed lucid dreaming took place. The correlation is no coincidence. The experimenters found that the electrical stimulation not only, quote, influences ongoing brain activity, but also, quote, induces self-reflective awareness in dreams. Wow. A frequency, an electrical current at a particular frequency, a vibration, induces self-reflective awareness in dreams? Pretty amazing. In other words, it causes lucid dreaming. Scientists hope this technique will help with psychiatric research, especially for conditions like post-traumatic stress disorder. This isn't the first technique that's claimed to induce lucid dreaming. Over the years, all kinds of silly masks and glasses have claimed to provide Inception-like experience, but this one seems, just seems more scientific, says the author. What do you think about this article? Well, let's see. I wish we could know what is really happening, or if there could be some way that the public could try this out. Is there? I don't know enough, so maybe some caller has some more idea of. I don't work with electricity, but is there something that can produce 40 hertz current? Is that something we could do with sound? I do see someone using the chat room or the question and answer section of the Phoenix of Liberty says, "We still love you, Derek." And I'll move that along. Nice little experimenting with the program of Q&A. What would you do if you could induce lucid dreaming? Have you ever had a lucid dream? I would want to fly. Flying, and I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but envision a voluntary society. I would want the world peace that I so envision. I would want world peace, but I mean, I guess I wonder if you can even affect other people's lives like that, like in a dream. Like, well, sure, you can dream any kind of environment you want. So I would want everyone to be fed, no more wars, closing Guantanamo Bay, ending torture around the world, no more dropping bombs, free trade for everyone, no one interfering with people's trade. And gosh, I don't know. There are a few crazy psychopaths. I don't know what could be done about those. There are still a lot of people, well, a small minority, small but persistent minority of psychopaths, right? I'll have to think harder and dream on that of how do crazy psychopaths get peacefully, voluntarily subdued. What's your peaceful society like? What would you lucid dream about? Maybe 360 vision? Well, coming up, we're going to talk about a teen who was suspended for refusing to say the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge of Allegiance. Did you even know Texas had its own pledge? That and more coming up. Stay tuned.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
Instead of just listening, you can also watch. See the Liberty Radio Network's key New Hampshire-based live shows via our studio cam at cam.lrn.fm. Plus, you'll still be able to listen to the Liberty Radio Network via the cam feed in high quality 24/7, even when there's no live show being produced in our Keene studio. But wait, there's more. Our chat room is built into the cam page so you can interact with other listeners online. Listen, watch, and chat, all free at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey, who do you think, excuse me?
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. You ain't gonna make me wait now. Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
CryptoCat now has the ability to encrypt Facebook chats right in your browser. Pretty handy. We'll talk about whether or not that's effective. Plus, a Florida couple has been fined for feeding the homeless. We're going to watch the U.S. government, a digital reenactment of the U.S. government dropping 2.5 million tons of bombs on Laos. But first, a teen suspended for refusing to say the pledge. You're going to love this kid. A Texas teen, this is from noarmycanstopanidea.com. Angel Clark writes, a teen was reportedly suspended from school for refusing to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Mason McCallick, a sophomore at Needville High School, claims he's taken a pledge not to say the pledge. Quote, I've basically said it from the time I was in kindergarten to earlier this year, and that's when I decided I was done saying it. The 15-year-old says he loves his country, but he doesn't agree with how politicians are running it. I'm really tired of our government taking advantage of us, said McCallick. I don't agree with the NSA spying on us, and I don't agree with any of those internet laws. But his attitude didn't sit well with the Needville school. He stopped saying the pledge earlier this school year, but it hadn't been a problem. But when announcements were moved to a different period on Wednesday, a new teacher spotted him sitting down during the recitation. He also sat down during the Texas Pledge, a special pledge that students in the state make to the Lone Star flag. She, the teacher, was furious. She told me, "This is my classroom," said McCallick. "This is the principal's request. You are going to stand." And I still didn't stand, and she said she was going to write me up. When he refused to get up, he said the principal of his high school slammed him with 2 days of in-school suspension. The punishment came with a warning. Continue sitting down, and he'd get more suspension time. But McCallick had no plans to back down. Quote, I think it's time that people do something for themselves. And stop taking whatever's handed to them, said Michalik. I'm angry and frustrated and annoyed that they would try and write me up for something I have the right to do. The news's requests for comment from the school were not returned. If you want the information for the school, including P.O. Box and their hours and phone and fax number, you can get that at noarmycanstopanidea.com. Just a shocking story. And first of all, I have to say, I had no idea that Texas had its own special pledge. Pretty cool. Well, no. I mean, why do I impulsively think that's cool? Like, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. It was like, oh, cool, they have their own one. I guess it's a Texan way to be independent and have their own, but no, a pledge to a flag? That's ridiculous. It's so cult-like. People think and call the anarchists like, oh, it's a cult. You know, the freaky and all. You know, I don't know. People throw that word around like cult behavior when people are acting in unison, right? And I don't think of typically, you know, activists who all have a decentralized method, all going their own way, doing their own independent thing as acting in unison. But when you're saying a pledge all in unison with a classroom of 30 of your peers, something you've been instructed to recite on a daily basis as you are just wiping the sleep out of your eyes in the morning of school. You've got these flags in the corner of every room like Big Brother watching down on you. You say this pledge to the flag. Well, this boy wasn't going to have it. He wasn't pledging his allegiance to... And he pinned the nail right on the head. He said to the politicians, I don't trust the politicians. I don't agree with the NSA spying on us. I don't agree with the internet laws. I'm tired of the government taking advantage of us. Well, thank goodness. Someone is willing, some young person is willing to think critically about this recitation. And I think it's interesting also that he pointed out it used to not be a problem. This is something that some teachers allow and others do not. I was fortunate enough to always be in a classroom where I never had to say the Pledge of Allegiance in high school. I stopped saying it, I believe, sophomore year. I just stopped standing up and putting my hand on my heart like this is some religious ceremony. And I pledge allegiance. Ridiculous. And I think when I saw other people doing it, I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to sit this one out too. I don't pledge any allegiance. This doesn't mean anything to me. So that's a great form of peaceful resistance. I hope that if there are young people out there who are still in school and they're forced to say the pledge, that they act with a little bit of peaceful resistance. If they say, this is some state-worshipping religion. I don't have that religion. You all do your thing, but I'm not going to participate. Now, one form of peaceful resistance, I always love to cover tech, because tech is one of the answers of peaceful resistance, the ways that we can break free of the chains of the state. And CryptoCat is a way of making encrypted chat easy, fun, and accessible for everyone. That's their tagline. Now encrypts Facebook chat. So I know a lot of my communications on a daily basis happen over Facebook. And whether or not you think that this is actually secure, there's an argument to be made for increasing the amount of encrypted communications on the internet. That will drown out the important communications. If you encrypt a bunch of mundane communications, well, then the NSA has to decode it all, right? Before they determine what is of value to them and what is not. Well, if you just encrypt all of your communications, that makes secure communications even more secure. By, first of all, normalizing it and not just allowing the NSA to focus on only things which are encrypted. If they did that, well, then they'd be wasting a lot of time decrypting a bunch of mundane communications. So it makes it ineffective for them to spy on you. So whether or not you think that this is actually a secure method of communicating, that's a reasonable argument, but it seems to me that it would make everyone's communications just a little bit more secure. Reading from their own blog at blog.crypto.cat, CryptoCat's mission is to make encrypted chat accessible and easy to use. With CryptoCat celebrating its 3rd birthday already, we're happy to announce the new encrypted Facebook chat feature in the latest CryptoCat 2.2 update. CryptoCat can now log into your Facebook account for you, fetch your Facebook contacts, and if another contact is also using CryptoCat, you'll be able to automatically set up an end-to-end encrypted chat. If a Facebook friend later logs in via CryptoCat, your chat will be immediately upgraded to an encrypted CryptoCat chat. So they're already making your Facebook chat available as your buddy list. One of the #1 flaws with CryptoCat is having other people to talk to. Well, now everyone on your friends list could be that person. Check it out, crypto.cat. This is Peace News Now. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for camping, hunting, survival, or shooting gear? ManVentureOutpost.com carries the name brands you want at the lowest prices. Ammunition, knives, firearm accessories, archery, air guns, scopes, binoculars, laser sights, tactical flashlights, fish finders, and boating equipment. ManVentureOutpost.com is family-owned and has the lowest prices. Go check it for yourself. Get it quick. Get it from ManVentureOutpost.com.
Now buy firearms at ManVentureOutpost.com.
Because we are smothering in spam, please do not reply to all when you can instead reply. I was recently among over 100 invited to a corporate reunion. It's always a warm affair, and that's the problem. Enthusiasm for our upcoming get-together caused many recipients to RSVP the organizer with a cheery reply to all. I can't wait. Then others piled on with a reply to all to that. Then the "I'm out of my office now" autoresponders joined in. So I replied to all, asking that we all reply only to the organizer. Hey, at least I tried. One invitee, apparently retired, shot back, "Point taken, but I really like seeing the responses since they're so positive." Smiley face. This better be an open bar. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. You'll likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same great prices, and LRN gets a cut. Please do your online shopping at shop.lrn.fm.
Shiny badges on your jacket, shiny badges. Start a conversation with your neighbor or your doctor or your family or your school. Now there's teachers and lawyers and business executives, and they all wear shiny badges and they all reject the state. Shiny badges on your jacket, shiny badges. Show the world that you reject coercion and aggression and oppression by the state. ShinyBadges.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
A meme is not easy to define.
What is it?
But you know it when you see it.
Amazing.
Don't Tread on Meme.com proves that.
I feel so enlightened.
Don't Tread on Memes, M-E-M-E, helping you give the finger to our monetary system of deception by providing you with silver dime trading cards. Unlike today's dollar, they have value, and they look neat too.
Oh, would you look at those? Aren't those just swell?
Don'tTreadOnMeme.com. While you're browsing their numerous silver dime card designs, take time to download the easy-to-use Silver Calculator app. This simple piece of technology lets you know instantly, whether using iPhone or Android, just how much your silver coin is worth. Find out all the details at Don'tTreadOnMeme.com. Now accepting Bitcoin. Don't Tread on Meme, your path to a voluntary society with honest money. Don'tTreadOnMeme.com, serving you faster than the Fed prints money.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
Welcome back to Peace News Now. We're live this Tuesday, May 13th, 2014. Hey, you know, a Florida couple was fined $746 for the crime of feeding homeless people. That's right, Scott Keys at thinkprogress.org reports after feeding the hungry in a Daytona Beach park every weekend for more than a year, it's just as easy to imagine Chico and Debbie Jimenez giving a ticker tape parade as what they actually got. A slew of citations and a permanent ban from the park. Chico and Debbie Jimenez and I will attempt to share with the viewers at home their picture so you can get an idea of what these warm, loving folks look like. Here's Chico and Debbie right here of Daytona Beach. Yeah, they feed the homeless. Wow, he looks like a bad dude with that biker beard and bandana wrapped around his head. He's a scary guy. Yeah, maybe he deserves a citation, land up in jail, but not her, right? She's just a smiling, happy old lady. Not that old. All right, Chico and Debbie, a husband and wife team, aren't handing out food in the Florida heat every Wednesday because of a court order or for a paycheck. They do it because they believe helping the poor is their religious duty. They run a Christian outreach group, spreading the word without saying a word ministry that gives food to the needy every week, pointing to Jesus' words in Matthew 25:40. Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Every Wednesday, the Jimenezes feed more than 100 people a hearty lunch with dishes of chicken patties, macaroni salad, and fresh vegetables, among others. The meals are entirely funded by private donations and staffed with volunteers. However, Daytona Beach is one of a handful of cities that enacted ordinances barring individuals from serving food in public. Last week, nearly a dozen police officers showed up at Manatee Island Park, where a long line of people had queued to get a meal, and served citations to the Jimenezes and volunteers. We'll see the footage from that May 7th citation delivery by a half-dozen police officers. But first, according to the group's Facebook page, Chico and actually, maybe I could play the video. There's an idea. I'll play the video while reading the rest of the story so you can get an idea, because it's a pretty long video. This is a full, uncut version. It says, every week for the past year, we have fed the homeless and hungry people at Manatee Park in celebration of the birthdays of our friends and family. It grew from 11 people weekly to 100 people plus weekly. And here's the video. They are now permanently banned from Manatee Park. They want to thank the many who have helped them have a successful year of putting smiles on the faces of those in need, and they know that the pleasure of the many they've blessed is worth all the trouble. So here's the video. Here's their prayer. They're starting this whole thing off. So according to the group's Facebook page, Chico and Debbie, along with 4 volunteers, were each given multiple second-degree misdemeanors. The fines totaled $373 per person. I'm going to mute the video here. The total for the group, $2,238. Gee, I wonder how much it costs to have the police come there and cite them. All 6 police officers. The police also permanently banned the group from Manatee Island Park. Quote, "We have made a lot of good friends in the park, and we're devastated that we are banned from the Manatee Park forever. I am heartbroken." Police Chief Mike Chitwood commented about the incident to the Daytona Beach News Journal. Quote, "The ordinance is there, so if we catch you, we're going to cite you." He went on to add, "If you want to feed people, and you want to do a good Christian act, we encourage you to coordinate with the local social service agencies, just like Christ intended." Daytona Beach is just the latest city to crack down on groups that feed the poor in city parks. Other recent examples range from Birmingham to St. Louis to Raleigh to Philadelphia to Orlando. In 2010 report from the National Law Center on Homelessness and Poverty identified more than a dozen other cities with restrictions and found an uptick in the number of new ordinances. Here's the police standing right behind these people who are just feeding the homeless. Is that not a freeze frame or what? Look at this poor woman from the church. This volunteer with gloves on her hand has a thug behind her with a badge and a gun. He's going to tell her, "Miss, you're going to stop feeding these homeless people. And I tell you what, you owe me money now. And you're banned for life." That's right. I don't know where I forget where this happened. Does he have a southern accent? I just imagine anyone, yeah, the South, it's Florida, depends. So, thank goodness this was caught on video, because you can see how ridiculous it looks when volunteers are getting cited for feeding the homeless, which they've been doing for over a year. Obviously, serving the community, but the cops are not. So the Jimenezes, who both left jobs more than a year ago to focus on ministry full-time, were upset about the developments but told the News Journal that they plan to challenge the citations rather than pay them. Well, good for them. Quote, "We are not criminals, and feeding hungry folks is not a crime," the couple said. Good for them. And I believe they've got support on a Facebook page. Let's check that out. Yeah, Spreading the Word Without Saying a Word Ministry. You can like their page on Facebook. They've got the video on there. And looks like they've also got perhaps a fundraiser for their legal defense. So, man, fines totaling over $2,000 just for feeding the homeless in the park. Is there any question whether or not the city really cares about the people or the homeless? See, they claim that they need your tax money to take care of these people, but then they find the very people who are volunteering their own private donations, their own private time to take care of them. So which is it? Is this just some shakedown organization? Well, you tell me, after Mother Jones shows us how the U.S. has dropped 2.5 tons of bombs on one place, Laos. How is it possible? I have no idea. We're about to watch the video and find out together. But between 1964 and 1973, the U.S. dropped about 2.5 million tons of bombs in Laos. While the American public was focused on the war in neighboring Vietnam, the U.S. military was waging a devastating covert campaign to cut off the North Vietnamese supply lines through the small southeastern country. The nearly 600,000 bombings delivered a staggering amount of explosives, the equivalent of a plane load of bombs every 8 minutes for 9 years, or a ton of bombs for every person in the city. More than what American planes unloaded in Germany and Japan combined during World War II. Laos remains, per capita, the most heavily bombed country on Earth. You can check out the full video at motherjones.com. Coming up, Alec Baldwin was arrested for riding his bike against traffic in New York City. We've got pictures of that and some discussion. Was it disorderly conduct? Is he getting exactly what he deserves? Peace News Now will return.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Helen.
About almost 3 decades ago, this fall, little creatures appeared in my consciousness.
Little creatures?
They introduced themselves to me as Matilda and Mumford Rabbit.
Huh.
It comes from a higher planet, more spiritually evolved. Matilda Rabbit has a habit of using God's gift of free speech. Matilda Rabbit has the habit of snoring in her sleep, but not before she does implore the Lord her soul to keep.
Is it the same God?
Oh yeah, right. Jesus is their word and way on all planets.
Why would they care about Jesus? They don't even live on this planet.
Right. How would they even know? Because Jesus was on Earth, right?
Well, Jesus is not on this planet alone. He's everywhere.
Did he die on a cross in outside of Jerusalem and the other planets too?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how to air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where
that pits you against people around the world to mine for scarce resources. Do business in a capitalist economy with virtually mined gold, tax-free. It doesn't require a big time commitment. Your little mining robot guy works whether you're logged in or not. It costs nothing to play, but you can buy bonuses. They even accept bitcoins. Go to minethings.com, use coupon code FTL, and double your mining speed. It's free. Minethings.com.
More Peace News Now is coming up next, live after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 13th, 2014. Silver is trading at $19.48 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,291 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $438. Antiwar.com reports the Russian government has announced that it respects the will of the people of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions after Sunday's referendum, in which voters there overwhelmingly backed the People's Republic of Donetsk. Exactly what this means isn't clear, and Russia was similarly vague on their view of the matter, beyond saying that now more than ever they support renewed dialogue between Ukraine and the protesters. Russian officials did not address the calls from some in the protest movement to consider accession into the Russian Federation, and indications are that Russia would prefer to not see that happen, as integrating the impoverished industrial area would be extremely costly. Ukraine's interim government itself was created as a result of protest and has ruled out any negotiation with the eastern protesters, whom they have dubbed terrorists. They have likewise condemned the referendum. The White House announced that it will never recognize the results of Sunday's referendum in eastern Ukraine. You've heard of ShinyBadges.com, but you need to check out the New Causes tab. Every item in that section includes a donation to a worthy liberty project, like Shire Sharing. So go to ShinyBadges.com, click on the New Causes tab, and get yourself a quality product that not only supports the cause you believe in, but starts a conversation with your neighbors. Plus, get a free gift when you pay with Bitcoin at ShinyBadges.com. The Global Post reports on June 4th, a quarter-century will have passed since the defining moment of post-Mao China, when the People's Liberation Army's bloody crackdown destroyed a peaceful citizens' movement demanding political change in Beijing. A perennial question as the anniversary approaches is whether the Chinese people will ever again attempt to force their one-party government to change. But just as the tensions that culminated in blood 25 years ago had actually been building up for years, the Communist Party of China appears to be dealing with another widespread buildup of dissatisfied citizens. This time around, things are much different. China is more open to the world than ever. Its internet, despite heavy censorship, is still a valuable platform for sharing ideas, and a growing number of citizens are willing to go to prison for their beliefs. Global Post spoke with 3 vocal critics of China's political status quo, a Tiananmen survivor, a lawyer, and a writer. Despite diverse backgrounds, they agree that the party will not reform itself of its own free will, nor will outside pressure force it to do so. Change is necessary, they say, and must come from the Chinese people. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They now take Bitcoin for purchasing precious metals so you can turn your profits into a long-term investment. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing. 800-874-9760. The Bitcoin News Service reports the Bitcoin Investment Trust took a survey of over 1,000 people from Wall Street to Silicon Valley for their thoughts about Bitcoin. The evidence displays a correlation between knowledge of Bitcoin and a positive perception of Bitcoin. Of the people polled, almost half, 45%, found out about Bitcoin last year, and 52% claim to have heard about it in 2012 or before. Some good news is that once people knew about Bitcoin, 68% of them had positive views and thought it would change the world or solve a real problem. 66% of respondents plan to make a Bitcoin purchase this year. This survey comes in conflict with what the general public thinks of Bitcoin, with nearly 3/4 of U.S. residents not being familiar with Bitcoin, according to a study released by PBS in February of this year. The PBS survey also found that 1/3 of respondents between the age of 18 and 24 believe that Bitcoin helps the U.S. dollar. One thing that is for sure is the juxtaposition between the general public and the financial/tech affluent, which illustrates how Bitcoin will probably be used. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome welcome back to the War for the White House bunker. A troubling new report from the Shuttleworth Institute shows that due to Facebook, every potential candidate for the 2040 presidential race, no matter how smart or accomplished, is now completely unelectable. I'm standing in the 2012 Democrat Grid with Jason Copeland. Jason, walk us through this.
Yeah, we're looking at really a political crisis. The Democrats are currently searching basements and creepy backyard sheds in search of somebody who was kidnapped at a young enough age that they have no online presence.
That is a very interesting tactic.
An option, and the GOP has been looking at this young man. This is a 20-year-old Jeeves Jones. He's currently living in Appalachia with his fundamentalist Christian grandmother and no electricity.
So Jeeves has no Facebook page.
Jeeves does not. In fact, he's completely illiterate, and the Republican Party has begun grooming him for a possible candidacy in 2036.
All right. Well, at least there's someone. Thank you, Jason Copeland.
Thanks, Andrea.
Another story out of Florida. A 3.5-year-old boy is being court-ordered to undergo a medically unnecessary circumcision. We'll get to that story, but first, Alec Baldwin arrested in New York City. We've got videos of the arrest plus his Twitter tirade. I know, this is straight from TMZ. This is TMZ-style stuff, but I think it also belongs on Peace News Now. I'll tell you why. It's peaceful resistance, and he didn't throw up a fist. He made his arguments verbally, took it to Twitter, and I hope he fights it. I hope he doesn't pay the ticket. So 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, Alec is going off on Twitter writing, "Officer Moreno, badge number 23388, arrested me and handcuffed me for going the wrong way on 5th Ave. Meanwhile, photographers outside my home once again terrified my daughter and nearly hit her with a camera. The police did nothing." So this is his number one concern. Alec Baldwin, for those of you who don't know, has been being arrested in New York City quite often in the past few years. His main concern being these photographers, and a lot of New York City celebrities, and all celebrities, have complained about paparazzi following them around with these video cameras. These people have too much freedom to come within the general area of a celebrity. We are gods, and we need a perimeter. Well, Alec Baldwin wants special treatment, but he's got a right to go down the sidewalk, doesn't he, or the street? Who was he hurting? Let's see. And the zinger, quote, "New York City is a mismanaged carnival of stupidity that is desperate for revenue and anxious to criminalize behavior once thought benign." Isn't that remarkable? He hits the nail right on the head. And I wonder why he continues to live there. These celebrities who love New York can't leave New York. I mean, I guess Jon Stewart, he lives in New Jersey, but well, like, that's some kind of improvement. How about make it a real change, moving to some location like New Hampshire if you really want freedom? Not that I'm saying come to New Hampshire, Alec. I don't think you'd fit in. Alec Baldwin was detained in New York City Tuesday morning after riding his bike the wrong way on 5th Avenue and 16th Street. Here's the crazy part. Seems one of the factors in the arrest was that Alec didn't have his ID on him while he was riding. We're told Alec was taken to the police station so he could be properly identified, which is standard operations. Law enforcement sources tell us Alec was belligerent with the officers while in custody, which resulted in him getting a ticket for disorderly conduct on top of the ticket for riding the wrong way. So he got a ticket for disorderly conduct once he raised his voice and he was saying celebrity things like, "You don't know who I am? Don't you know who I am? I'm Alec Baldwin. I'm on 30 Rock. Hello, look at my face." And he was given a disorderly conduct charge and arrested. They're like, "This is some nut." The police there. Sources tell us he was riding alone. It was just for exercise. Alec's wife was not there. The idea part of the story is kind of amusing because Alec is a fixture in New York. That is true. So that is remarkable that the NYPD wouldn't know who he is, would arrest him, charge him with disorderly conduct. I hope he fights it. Now, onto a topic much more serious. A protest is happening May 16th at 10 a.m. It's to protest a court ruling to forcefully circumcise a perfectly healthy 3-year-old boy. 3.5-year-old Chase is being court-ordered to undergo a medically unnecessary circumcision per his father's wishes. No health organization in the world recommends routine circumcision. Circumcision is a cultural and religious practice, typically forced on children. One of the arguments given for forced infant circumcision is that the baby will not remember it. Well, at 3 years old, Chase is a child who is fully aware of his body. He will experience and remember the pain, and he will be very aware that his body has drastically changed. Chase's mother and her attorney plan to appeal the judge's decision. South Florida Intactivists Unite will hold a peaceful protest in front of the South County Courthouse to send a message to the judge loud and clear. Forcing a permanent, unnecessary, risky, and painful body modification on Chase violates his human right to bodily integrity. If you're unable to attend but wish to show your support, consider making a donation via their GoFundMe account to help with attorney's fees. You can look up their GoFundMe is called Save Chase from Circumcision. You can just check it out online. I'll show you the screenshot here of their current fundraising efforts show that they have already raised about halfway of their goal at $2,700 and their goal being $5,000. This from Heather Hieronymus, who writes, "My son Chase is currently being court-ordered to undergo a medically unnecessary cosmetic circumcision because that is what his dad wants." And since the judge is also very pro-circumcision, my attorney and I are going to be appealing this decision, as neither of us believe it should be a decision left to anyone other than Chase, who is 3.5 and fully aware. As a stay-at-home mom, I do not have the funding to be able to fully accomplish this on my own. I am pleading with fellow Intactivists, parents, and all others to help me save my son, his foreskin, and his rights. Hopefully, other children, from allowing the system to make those decisions. Please help me help Chase. Thank you from myself and my son. You can find their campaign at gofundme.com/91DM9W. Or check it out at peacenewsnow.com. We will have the link for you. They're also on Facebook. Check out the group called South Florida Intactivists Unite. Intact, as in intact bodily integrity. You can join their Facebook page, facebook.com/South Florida Intactivists Unite. A very serious situation. I hope that anyone in the South Florida area is able to attend. There's a lot of freedom lovers out there. I know there's a lot of statists as well, but there's a lot of freedom activists who can mobilize around this effort. Another Intactivist-themed story, as this week the Intaction mobile for education of circumcision awareness was unveiled in New York City outside of the Langone Medical Center. And I've got a picture of it for the viewing audience at peacenewsnow.com/live. You can see the video, or the picture rather. I don't have video of it cruising around, but it's at ididnotconsent.org. It says, circumcision, I did not consent, and then it's got it translated in Spanish as well. It says, let's end genital mutilation now, and it has pictures of these men holding their baby photos, and it's quite clear that these are now men who are fully aware of that they are missing half the skin on their genitals, And they're holding a picture of themselves when they were not aware of what was going on with their bodies, when a decision was made on their behalf to remove a perfectly healthy piece of their bodies. The article at Intaction.org says that May 10th, 2014, today, Intaction unveiled an audacious step for the anti-circumcision movement with the introduction of a dedicated mobile education unit. We'll hear more about that mobile education unit when Peace News Now returns. Plus, a story about a free market win. How elderly Americans are helping Brazilian teenagers learn to speak English, all thanks to the free market. That when Peace News Now returns.
Do you love coffee as much as I love coffee? Here's a delicious way to drink the best of the best coffee and make a difference, one cup at a time. We've partnered with Camano Island Coffee Roasters to offer BuzzBox Coffee. And you can try a pound for free. All you do is cover shipping. It's organic, shade-grown, top 1% Arabica grade. 10% of future purchases help our efforts to give the gift of human freedom through at least 100 microloans via World Vision. For more information, go to coffee.freetalklive.com.
May I have your attention, please? If you are trying to lose weight, we need your help. We're AF Plus, and we have too much product and too few participants in our nationwide risk-free trial. If you need to lose 30 pounds or more and would like to participate, call now. 1-800-967-9495. AF Plus is an amazing, proven breakthrough in weight loss. A once-daily capsule that can help you lose weight in days. It's also one of the healthiest ways to lose weight because each capsule contains natural ingredients, including green tea extract. You'll boost your metabolic heart rate, allowing you to shed pounds in days with just one capsule a day. Be among the first to call for your risk-free trial. Again, we have too many risk-free trials and too few participants. If you would like to lose 30 pounds or more by taking just one all-natural capsule a day, call now to participate in this nationwide risk-free trial. 1-800-967-9495. That number again is 1-800-967-9495.
The three most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
This is the Central Scrutinizer. I steal your labor by force through taxation. My job is to spy on you and keep you from hearing things like the Freedom Fiends. I especially do not want you to torrent Freedom Fiends episodes to keep them drone-proof. Do not go to freedomfiends.com and click on the torrent link and learn how to torrent Fiends archives. Do not go to freedomfiends.com and click on the torrent link and learn how to torrent Fiends archives. Do not go to freedomfiends.com and click on the torrent link and learn how to torrent Fiends archives.
If you can't listen to the Liberty Radio Network's internet streams, free satellite channel, or radio affiliates, no worries. You can listen to LRN.FM from any phone, anywhere. Add this number to your phone: 213-493-0309. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The Liberty Radio Network listen lines are locked into our stream 24 hours a day. Call 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
Free Press Publications is an independent alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary at fpp.cc, as well as weekly news in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com. The monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc and books at shop.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You can interact with other LRN listeners in our message board at forum.lrn.fm. That's forum.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to Peace News Now. Join us in the chat room. We're over there chatting at peacenewsnow.com/live. That's also where you can catch video of the show, where I share the screenshots of the South Florida Intactivists Unite group. They're dedicated to putting an end to the harmful genital cutting of baby boys. One of these weird double standards that still exists in the United States. I say it's weird because everyone, I don't know a single person in the world, well, I guess there are parts in the world that doesn't make any sense because there are places that do it. But I don't know anyone in my circles who would ever say that female genital mutilation is okay. Female genital mutilation, no! No, no, no! Absolutely not! Female genital mutilation, no way! Leave those kids alone! Do not mutilate genitals! Absolutely no! And the reason that they give is because it's purely cosmetic. It's just religious. They just want to remove pleasure from these young girls. It's not like with the boys where there's a medical reason or a religious reason. Well, it's tradition. Hey, well, it's been happening for thousands of years. Well, they don't even feel it. Hey, well, it happened to my son. It happened to my brother or my husband. I just want him to be like everybody else. They just jump into defensive mode. They make excuses. There's this double standard for mutilating the genitals of boys. Removing what most people don't know is 50% of the skin on the penis, resulting in 50 to 75% loss of sensitivity for life. Think about that. Yeah, it's your baby, mothers. So you're not thinking about one day this baby is going to have a lifetime of sex. But that's going to happen. Do you want to be responsible for removing 50 to 75% of the pleasure that your child will experience in his lifetime? Some mothers, the answer is yes. I can't imagine how they could possibly justify such an action, a violation of another human's bodily integrity that they're supposed to be protecting from harm. Just removing a perfectly healthy piece of tissue from the sexual organs of their infant child. Continuing the article at Intaction.org. The anti-circumcision movement of the modern era has been in existence for about 30 years, but it's recently gained significant momentum for a variety of reasons. There are many visionary concepts that were originally created by other intactivist organizations. We picked up the best of what we've seen and built on those ideas. However, having said that, we think this mobile unit is unlike anything ever seen or done before. And there are pictures of this mobile unit at Intaction.org. I'll also share some on screen with you. They feature posters that say, "Circumcision, I did not consent." It was over 4 months of intensive work getting this project completed from the inception. The creative design, logistics, and mechanical upgrades. The one thing you'll notice is there's a consistency of messaging. From the visual photographs, the captions, the internet URL domain, and printed literature handed out from the mobile unit. We feel this consistency is vital to the communication of our message. I agree with them. They hit the nail on the head. It's about consent. Circumcision. I did not consent. If they can hit that message home, I did not consent. Consent is the issue. If they can send that message home, boy, they're opening up a whole new can of worms, aren't they? And us voluntarists know it. They start talking about consent being a moral virtue, the standard of human interaction, well, then they're setting themselves up for a world of voluntarism, aren't they? When we take on a project, we pledge to deliver on our promises, they write at Intaction.org. Not only does the end result have to satisfy our vision, but we want to meet the expectations of Intaction members and supporters, who we call the Intact Nation. The members have entrusted their hard-earned money with Intaction to get something done. We take that trust very seriously. In this case, we hope we've exceeded their expectations. Some physical facts about the mobile unit. It has over 466 square feet of fixed graphic display space with lighting, 24 square feet of video screens, and a sound system. There's an interior storage space inside the body. The uses and possibilities of this mobile unit are limited only by our imagination. When you put the whole package together along with a professional execution, we feel this will have a tremendous impact on the public perception of circumcision. We want to recognize some people who have made very generous donations to Intact by this mobile unit, and they have a special plaque for them at Intaction.org. They say, we plan a busy upcoming schedule which will include weekly outings through the tri-state area. That includes New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. We plan on visiting hospitals, college campuses, and outdoor public events. The hope is that when people start to see this mobile unit, they will understand what the men behind the message are saying. What was done in the past is done. That cannot be changed. But let's stop repeating the mistakes of the past on the next generation of children. What an important message. And ididnotconsent.org. Let's check it out. I haven't gone to it, but why not? We have the ability to screen share here, so I'll go to the website. This is what we see. It's got information about changing attitudes, petition, I did not consent, circumcision, the missing pieces, ways you can join Intact Nation and fight circumcision. The I Did Not Consent photo project. Wow, looks like they've got a lot going on here. I knew Intactivism was a thing, but I had no idea it was such a big thing. This looks like it's going to be a new bookmark for me. Oh, and I see what they did there. It's the front of Intaction.org. I type in ididnotconsent.org and it takes you right to Intaction.org. So, all right, clever URL redirection there. But looks like they've got a wealth of information, ways you can participate. A petition, that's not really my style. But hey, if you like the idea of this mobile unit, this educational unit that they can send on the road through the tri-state area, sending out pamphlets and giving people information about the real facts behind circumcision and how it's a medically unnecessary procedure and no health organization in the world recommends it, well, people's attitudes will change, people's actions will change. Coming up, we have a sad story to report about a teen who died in police custody, but a happy story about a cop who's facing justice. That and more coming up on Peace News Now.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. Find out about giving to our Google AdWords campaign at amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp. www.freetalklive.com. Ross Ulbricht was arrested by the FBI in 2013 and charged with victimless crimes in relation to allegedly operating the Bitcoin-based Silk Road black market. He has been in a prison cell awaiting trial ever since. If he did it, he's a hero for making the black market a safer place. If he did not, he's a man wrongfully accused. Either way, if you love freedom and want to end the war on drugs, Ross and his family need your support. You can learn more and help fund his defense at freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Copblock.org/pivothead. To ensure that a record of the truth of police interactions exists and is accessible, we each need a film. That's why we're happy to announce the Accountability Through Transparency video contest, the winner of which will receive a pair of Pivot Head sunglasses. For more information and to submit your video entry, go to copblock.org/pivothead. 1. Document with a camera a police employee exhibiting double standards or the standards we expect them to live up to. This can be done while on foot, during a vehicle stop, while submitting an open records request, etc. 2. Upload your video to your YouTube channel. 3. Fill out the form at copblock.org/pivothead by the deadline of midnight Eastern Standard Time, May 23rd, 2014. 4. The winner, chosen by contest sponsors, will be notified by email, and the Pivot Head sunglasses will be shipped once the mailing address is received. copblock.org/pivothead.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronic, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.lrn.fm. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit the Liberty Radio Network when you shop at Amazon via shop.lrn.fm. Are you looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire this fall? You're invited to Keenvention. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, do some Robin Hooding, and learn about making the move. Keenvention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. This year, Rich Paul is our first announced keynote speaker, and more are being announced now at keenvention.info. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this October 31st through November 2nd. Tickets are available now at a special early bird price of just $40 via credit card or Bitcoin. That $40 price only lasts through PorcFest, so don't delay. Reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Something cool I checked out during the break. One of the people in the chat room shared with me that there is such a thing as Edward-Snowden.net. I'll screen share that with the audience at peacenewsnow.com/live. Hey, check it out. Look, this is what you get at the front page of edwardsnowden.net. Man, a whole bunch of information about Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Visacorp, The Guardian, Glenn Greenwald. Check out some of these links. News archive about Barack Obama, Booz Allen Hamilton, Brazil, the CIA, the latest videos in an archive, the highest rated videos, most recent, most viewed. Check it out. That's pretty cool stuff. All at edwardsnowden.net. Hey, thanks, folks in the chat room. Had no idea that existed. Returning to our main story that we were talking about, Intaction, Intactivism. There's a mobile awareness unit in New York City screen sharing the chat room now. There's a bus that's going to be handing out information about circumcision. Some people are saying, hey, that's the birthright of a parent, is to bring their child up in their religion. If you're a Jewish parent, then you have a Jewish child and you can raise them in that religion. If that religion includes circumcision, well, then you should be able to circumcise them. But I wonder if that religion were imported from the parts of Africa where it's acceptable to remove female foreskin or a female genital area. If I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what all the practices are, but I believe that another pleasure center is removed from the genitals of infant baby girls in parts of Africa, I guess other parts of the world as well. So if that was their religion, should that be allowed in the U.S.? If you're going to say that, oh, well, religion is a justification for Judaism to remove a perfectly healthy, functioning part of the sexual organs of an infant, then why not for a female? What's the double standard all about? Or maybe there isn't a double standard. Maybe you think it's perfectly acceptable to remove any body part, an ear, an arm, a nose. You know, they're all perfectly healthy organs. You know, why not remove any of them? A finger, if it's part of your religion, or maybe it's not part of your religion. Maybe you just think it's in the medical best benefit of the child. Maybe you think they might get breast cancer one day, so in your baby girl. So, I mean, breast cancer is far more common than, let's see, I don't know, there's a lot of common diseases. Like breast cancer is one of the common ones, so why not remove the mammary glands from your infant baby? So they never have breasts, they'll never have breast cancer. Lots of interesting questions come up once you try and extend the same rights that adults have to infants. Do they have the right to have their bodies intact, or are adults free to lob off parts of their bodies? Well, you feel free to disagree with me. The call-in number is Hi-Fi CivDis, or Skype us, Peace News Now. The lines are open. You can disagree. I know some people in the chat room disagree. Go ahead, call in. But let's change gears for a moment. Let's talk about a free market win, where elderly Americans are helping Brazilian teenagers learn to speak English. This is a story I read earlier today over at BusinessInsider.com. Unlikely friendships are being created thanks to FCB Brazil and the CNA Language School Network. And of course, the magic of video chat. So teenagers in Brazil want to learn how to speak English. Senior citizens living in a retirement community in Chicago just want someone to talk to. And why don't I just play the video for you? I think it's heartwarming, and I can't imagine I'm going to get in any kinds of legal trouble for sharing a YouTube video like this. I don't know. There's all kinds of copyright claims. If this video gets taken down, we know why. But enjoy. I think there's some audio that will accompany it. So this is CNA English School, where there are 580 language centers in Brazil.
Not all of our students have the chance to travel abroad and to interact with native speakers of English. What our students really want is to speak English fluently. And we're always asking ourselves, how can we make it more real, more human?
So in Chicago, in a retirement community, you've got all these old folks who just want someone to talk to. Here they are getting dressed up, combing their hair, getting ready to be on camera. Playing with some technology. And they're going to bring the old folks together with the young folks who want to learn English.
We created a tool that connects our students with seniors in the USA living in retirement homes.
Hello, hello.
Melissa.
Hi, Dick. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
How are you today? I'm good. How are you? It's the first time that I'm talking with someone from another country.
I'm very excited to be doing this.
I look like I'm only 25, but I'm 88.
Do you have sisters and brothers?
No, I'm one child.
Only one? Oh, you poor fella.
I'm live with my old brother. He has 23 years.
Do you know, instead of saying he has 23 years, you could say he is 23 years old.
I tried to go to Lollapalooza that we have next week, I think, in Brazil, but my mom didn't let me.
You got a good mom.
Good morning, dear Julia. Good morning to you.
This is your dad? Tear up.
That's me and my wife when we were young.
Oh, you were good looking when you were young. And you're still good looking.
My first destiny is United States, of course, because I wanted to put better my English.
Well, you do very well, I must say.
Are you planning someday to go to Brazil?
Oh, I would like to.
You can stay in my house if you want.
If you could just dream and have whatever you want, what do you think you would like to be doing?
I see myself in a big family, with a beautiful wife.
So the tool uploads a video to YouTube and a private link to be evaluated by the teachers.
Thank you for this change of experience, You are incredible.
Obrigado.
You are my new granddaughter.
And I love you.
I love you too.
And if you were here, I would give you a big hug.
Oh yeah, let's hug. Oh. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. CNA.com/.br. Wow. Just such a powerful video. It's making me tear up. I am crying over here watching it the second time. I cried the first time too. Check it out on YouTube. FCB Brazil. You can learn more about it. The CNA Language School. It says on their YouTube page that they're launching the Speaking Exchange Project. Connects CNA students in Brazil with Americans living in retirement homes. So I guess it's not just in Chicago. It could be all over the place. But isn't it cool that this is a part of capitalism? This is not governments that did this, that connected people in this way. This is one company who wants to teach children how to learn to speak another language for a profit. And how are they connecting these 500,000 Brazilian students with English speakers all around the world who want someone to talk to? With technology. It's empowering humanity past the point where we can be controlled by governments. It's happening. Alright, coming up, we have a very serious story about a teen who was killed in police custody, plus some punishment doled out to them.
There's a treasure hunt going on at mathgate.info, a Bitcoin treasure hunt. You can find Bitcoins by proving theorems. So, learn some logic, do some math, find some Bitcoins. Even better, mathgate.info is designed to be used anonymously. So, connect to mathgate.info through Tor, prove some theorems, find some anonymous Bitcoins. Don't wait, others are already searching for the Bitcoins. Go to mathgate.info today and join the treasure hunt. There are anonymous Bitcoins to be had for the taking at mathgate.info.
Terror and confusion fell upon the nation this week after nearly 314 million Americans reported inexplicably losing consciousness for 8 hours straight last night, with countless victims helplessly recovering from the fugue-like state with no memory whatsoever of the lost time. Researchers at Princeton University, who have been studying the alarming phenomenon since its inception, told reporters that though they were unable to ascertain the source of the sweeping condition, it appeared to be somehow linked to the setting of the sun.
Right now, we suspect that there may be some connection between these sudden blackouts and the visions that some Americans have reported experiencing while they were unconscious. But most of these hallucinations are too abstract for us to draw any definite conclusions from.
At this time, we urge people to never turn off their lights and under no circumstances close their eyes for any extended period of... Oh, God. It's happening again.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know that you can listen to LRN.FM 24/7 via our free-to-air satellite channel? From Mexico to Canada, our signal covers nearly all of North America. All you need is a view of the southern sky, an affordable receiver, and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you're a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage map and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm.
Have you ever wanted to move to the land of Libpair? Libertarian paradise, where there's fun for everyone that doesn't initiate force on others, fun for the kids, parties for the adults, buy and sell in silver or Bitcoin, scenic hikes and gun shoots, speeches to educate us all. The Porcupine Freedom Festival is Libpair in the White Mountains of New Hampshire for a week this summer, June 22nd to 29th. Get your tickets now before there's no more room. Porkfest, the event of a lifetime. Porkfest.com. That's PORCFEST.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to Peace News Now. Hey, if you want to challenge things that are going on in this show, there are many ways to do it. Some folks are in the chat room having a disagreement about circumcision. Very exciting to see the arguments people make on both sides. Some say it's analogous to cutting hair or pulling out teeth. What do you think? Is it the same thing to lob off an essentially useful part of the sexual anatomy of an infant for the rest of their life, removing 50 to 75% of the pleasure they'll ever experience? Is that the same thing as cutting hair? You tell me. Well, unfortunately, we won't find out in this segment unless you call in or unless we do a quick after-show bonus segment after this broadcast on LRN.FM. I have to report to you this very serious story that happened this week of a child, I can't call him a child, he's a young man, who died in police custody. This from firstcoastnews.com. Death of Clay County teen while in police custody raises new concerns about the use of restraint chairs. Clay County, Florida. Born just 11 months apart, Marissa and Daniel Lesblinger were more than just brother and sister. They were roommates, partners in crime, and best friends. Standing in the middle of the fields at the Murray Hill Playground, 19-year-old Marissa Lesblinger recalls coming here with her big brother. We used to play soccer and football here. We would come out here, we'd play ball, we'd have one little picnic over here. Daniel's life wasn't always easy, and a lot of teenagers like a lot of teenagers, he made mistakes. On March 2nd of last year, Daniel apparently smoked the popular and once legal spice. He made a choice to use synthetic marijuana, said his mom, Valerie Lesblinger, and it landed him in jail. Apparently, suffering some kind of psychotic break, Daniel entered 2 apartments, the Stay Suites Inn in Orange Park, without permission or any clothes. Police say he charged into 2 apartments, yelling Bible scriptures and proclaiming he was Jesus. He didn't touch anybody or break anything, but the misdemeanor landed him in the Clay County Jail, where 10 days later, pepper sprayed and strapped into a restraint chair, he asphyxiated and died. I think my son died a heinous death, says his father, Daniel. I can only think of what the last 2 minutes of his life, what must have been going through his mind, which eats at me the most. I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm going to die now. I'm never going to see my sister or my mother or my father again. And this is it. According to inmate Linus Farr, who was housed in the cell next to Daniel, the teen's problems began the night before when he asked for a pencil to write with. Lisblinger had been in jail for more than a week, according to Farr, wanting to make a written request to see his attorney. But while deputies apparently gave him the form, they would not give him anything to write with. He was on suicide watch. No pencils allowed. According to Farr, the guards didn't just deny Lisblinger, they mocked him. They were all making fun of him, Farr told investigators with the Clay County Sheriff's Office. They were calling him Jesus freak, a God freak, teasing him about his religious beliefs. God can't help you now. God can't give you a pencil. The teasing, Farr added, caused Daniel to grow more and more agitated. Jail employees didn't mention teasing in their interviews with investigators from either the Florida Department of Law Enforcement or Internal Affairs, but all agree at some point Daniel's agitation grew physical. He began kicking and punching his cell door. A later autopsy found only minor abrasions on his hands. But officers say they were concerned for his safety. We really believed he was going to hurt himself, Clay County Deputy Rodney Houston told the investigators, recently concluded Internal Affairs investigation. So, at about 8:30 in the morning, according to all accounts, officers entered his cell, subdued him with pepper spray, and strapped him into a restraint chair. The order to use pepper spray, according to the officers, came from Sergeant Robert Heaps. Deputy Holtzen complied with the order, but told investigators he didn't agree with it. I didn't want to even spray this guy, he told Internal Affairs. I didn't need to. I'm a big guy. Controlling this guy was not going to be an issue for me at all. He's a fragile guy as it was. Immobilized in the chair with nylon straps tight across his arms, legs, and chest, Daniel began to produce a large volume of saliva and mucus, a reaction to the pepper spray. To prevent getting contaminated by the fluids, officers covered his head with a nylon and mesh hood, so-called spit mask. What happened next depends on who's talking. At least 3 inmates say Daniel began pleading for help. According to Farr, in the next cell door, quote, he started complaining that he was having chest pains. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Get this hood off. I'm gonna have to behave. I'm gonna behave. Just let me get some air. I have to be able to breathe. Inmate John Jarvis in an adjacent cell gave a similar account. He was begging to have the hood removed. grasping, saying, "I can't breathe." Jarvis says one officer responded, "If you can talk, you can breathe." Accounts from corrections officers differ. None recalled hearing Daniel begging for help, though his chair was outside the guard station in the middle of the cell block. None of the officers recalled specifically what he had to say in his final hour. Most say he was monitored every 15 minutes, as required by jail policy. Shortly after 9 a.m., Daniel stopped yelling and moving. His eyes and mouth hung open. His skin turned ashy gray. Corrections officers removed him from his chair and began CPR. When that failed, they called 911. Despite those efforts, Daniel was unresponsive. He was taken to Orange Park Medical Center, where he was declared dead. "Sir, they killed that boy," inmate Jarvis wrote in a letter to the public defender's office. "He was grasping and begging, stating over and over, 'I can't breathe.' Roll back the cameras. I only wanted a pencil." "Why?" asks Jacksonville attorney Mike Maurice, who's representing the family. "When you put all these measures, the chest trap, the mask, potentially the taser, why? How much more restraint do you need of a 19-year-old, 140-pound kid?" The Clay County Sheriff's Office expressed condolences for the family, but insists jail officials did nothing wrong. Investigators from the state attorney's office and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement also found no criminal intent. But the state determined Daniel's death was no accident. "I have a death certificate that says homicide," says Valerie Lisblinger. "This means someone killed my son. I want to see them punished." Maurice echoes that thought. The medical examiner ruled this a homicide, meaning a human killed another human. Why is no one being punished? The family has sued the jail and 8 of its employees, but to date, none has been disciplined or fired. "I don't understand how these trained officers let this happen," says Marissa Lessenblinger through her tears. "Why are they still working there? Why haven't they been written up or anything for this?" When you go to jail, you're not supposed to come out dead at the hands of the police. It's not supposed to happen. Well, sometimes we end on a happy note, sometimes we add on a sad note. We'll be taking a call. We'll do a bonus show. Stay tuned to peacenewsnow.com/live. That does it for this LRN edition of Peace News Now.
The warning sign.
Hey, caller. Welcome to Peace News Now. You are on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Rajel. I'm calling from Maryland.
Hi, Rajel. Good to be with you.
Family. I was just about to start my own broadcast and saw yours and thought I would want to know you if you're dealing with peace issues. Tell me your name.
Yeah, my name is Derek J. Freeman.
Dark J. Freeman?
Yeah, and I am obsessed with peaceful resistance. I love it when people use peaceful means to get what they want, especially when that means challenging authority.
I bless you. You're going to be delighted to know me. I call myself the first but not last or only co-savior Ra. I am combining our need to transit to solar energy with full tilt democracy, that is, people like you are co-presidents, and I've combined a couple of different elements of what I call the new millennial golden rule to make change. The Panchayat Raj of India, all the Indian villages are ruled under the now part of the Constitution of India called the Panchayat Raj, which requires 50% women, 50% men, all minorities in the village to be fully represented, and no money involved in the representation. And that's the law of all of the villages of India, but our media is so control that people don't know. This is the largest change that has ever happened on the face of the earth, but people don't hear about it because our media is so controlled.
Wow. How did you hear about this?
Well, I like you, I'm active on the internet, and I Googled many times on various questions to used my search engines to ask about the issue of democracy and gender parity, and eventually it came up. I'm not quite sure, I don't remember exactly what was the website I discovered it on initially, but the Panchayat Raj is a very major part of the government of India, and sadly their federal level is not heeding this wisdom.
Well, what about you? Do you have a community where you're able to engage with your friends and neighbors with this sort of governance?
I do tell them, and I'm doing more and more of that. I've been trying to reach out to the communities that are already, like you, involved in peacemaking, because I think that our media so covered and censored issues pertaining to balance of gender in making peace that our culture has become very retarded in that area, and we are seeing a lot of domination politics, and even the women here, their model of government has been presented to them as one that's money bound, and all of that is wrong. And it doesn't need to be like that. And then in Maryland, we use something officially here. We're the only place in the world, officially, the Maryland government uses something called the Genuine Progress Indicator, which is an alternative to the gross domestic product. And Maryland actually continually calculates what you call the sustainable wealth of Maryland, and it involves the use of calculations on unpaid work, like you say, what people do in their homes, for their families, and in their communities.
Yeah, I think it's all change is local, right? So I would love to know what you're doing with your friends and neighbors to start to implement the government that you want to see. You know, I believe...
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. I have a list of people in the local area, and there are some people that I've spoken with not very far from me in other nearby communities in Maryland. I live in Silver Spring, and my plan is to implement some of the things that have occurred in other communities that are not far from here. There's a large neighborhood in Washington, D.C., which is about 25 minutes from us here, called Mount Pleasant, and they have gone 100% solar. The neighbors got together and they completely solarized.
Wow, isn't that remarkable? So is that something you have at home?
Not yet. This is what my goals are, though. But right now I'm just working on getting out the New Millennial Golden Rule, and it is neighborhood-based. It's exactly what you're talking about. The whole point of it is to have the Panchayat Raj in every neighborhood.
Okay.
And that's something that I'd be happy to work with you on.
Well, I like it because it's voluntary. Unlike most of the governments that we've got, it's something that you can choose. If you want to implement it, go ahead and do it. And if you don't, then you don't have to. But the governments that we currently have, they are handed down to us without consent. And I think that it's the consent part that's so important.
You're absolutely right. What is your email address so I can keep in touch with you? And
please.
Do you broadcast every night, or how often?
Yes, we broadcast every Sunday and Tuesday at peacenewsnow.com. And
peacenewsnow.com.
Yep, and the email address is host@peacenewsnow.com. So it's very easy.
Host@peacenewsnow.com. Well, you're the holy host.
Yeah, in one way. So
yes,
I appreciate your call, and your name again, and any contact info that you want to put outside.
My name is Dr. Rajel One Family, and my website that we sponsor is 5050now.wordpress.com. And you will learn on that website I have an unusual genealogy. It combines all the major religious heritages of the world, definitively going through trace genealogy, because I have some other famous people on my family tree even currently, to these biblical and other very ancient and historical families. and historical families. And I have come to understand now that I've learned more about my own genealogy, why I've always been such a do-gooder.
Well, it's very good to meet you, Doctor, and I appreciate your call tonight. Any other thoughts you want to share?
I want to get your name one more time so I can...
I'm Derek J. Freeman, and you can check me out at derekjfreeman.com.
Okay. And Derek, where are you based?
I am based in the Shire, an area, a geographical region I call the Shire, which is the Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont area. But I don't like to recognize those borders. I like to choose my own based on my community, and that I call the Shire.
Oh, you're wonderful. You're brilliant. I'm so delighted.
It's not my idea.
Seconds.
It's other people came up with it. I just got off the phone
with another lady I'll tell you about too, who I maybe you know of her. Her name is Carol Brule. She ran on the Green Party ticket for Congress in California.
Oh,
She's
cool.
a very wonderful activist, and she introduced the idea to me of the consciousness currencies, which you'll see a lot of on my website.
Ooh, I like how it sounds. Is it an alternative form of currency?
Yes, and there's a lot of community currencies. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of my favorite community currencies. In fact, Peace News Now has been operating off of alternative currencies since its inception. We don't take dollars. We don't use them because they support wars.
You're right. You're right. Well, you're way out front. I'm so glad I discovered you.
Yes. Well, tune in every Tuesday and Sunday.
I'm going on the air right now. You see my website, the way it's on Google. I don't know if it shows up on that public page, but it's Arc, Earths, and Balance. And I'll be in touch with you. Let's stay in touch.
Thanks, Doctor. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Okay.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Peace. Wow, that was pretty cool. You know, you never know who you're going to run into when you post a video to the internet and tell people to call in. You can talk to almost anybody. Well, I think that should do it for our episode of Peace News Now today. It's very unfortunate what happened to that young boy who died in police custody. We didn't get to all the stories I wanted to cover, just a couple to give you a glimpse. The government granted a patent on a plain white background to Amazon.com. Just a sad example of what happens in a situation of fascism, which is exactly what the U.S. empire is today. It's fascist. You know, large companies can be granted special monopoly privileges on something as simple as using a white background. Ridiculous, but hey, with the government magic wand, anything is possible, right? Plus, copy wrong awesome video to disappear after the copyright retires. Let's see if it's still playable. This I learned about on Facebook. Chris Hadfield had leased or purchased the rights from David Bowie to play his popular song Starman or Space Oddity, and the video, let's see, oh, this video is set to private. It has been wiped. So just to prove to you, this video is no longer here. So what did he do? He asked permission to use David Bowie's Starman. Now, let's see if we can find Space Oddity, Chris Hadfield. Now that one disappeared, did someone else upload it and have a mirror so we can still enjoy this thing? Yep. So you can get an idea of what is there. Uh-oh. Oh no, it's just buffering. It's not that the music is gone. So yeah, this is the music that he's not allowed to use. This is why his video is taken down. And isn't this embarrassing? I mean, isn't this silly in the age of 2014, information age? We're so far past the point where it makes any sense to have a copyright on an intellectual property. When, look, there are 1 million copies of this video that are going to get made.
Major Tom.
This is Chris Hadfield. He's
ground control to Major Tom.
He's a real astronaut who makes terrific videos on YouTube, and he asked permission from David Bowie to use the music for the song. David Bowie gave it to him, and he apparently paid for a license of 1 year, and that has now expired. So the video is gone, right? It's going to be wiped from the internet. You paid for a year, and that's all you get. David Bowie, duh. No, the internet. the videos don't disappear. People are going to make a copy. If they like it, it's going to continue to be around, as evidenced by me playing it right now. Oh, you took it off the internet? Guess what? I can still find it. And it took all of 2 seconds in a Google search. So, let's see. Oh, I'm getting some questions in the chat. Before you go, what are your thoughts on the work of Jaron Lanier and anti-capitalism? I don't know. I'll Google who's Jen Lanier. And I see Jaron Lanier. Who Owns the Future? Looks like that's the book. Jaron's bio. I don't know. This website doesn't look very professional to me. That's the first thing I notice about it. And that doesn't mean he's wrong about anything, but it's just the first thing I notice. You might want to update the website and make it a little more user-friendly, just so folks have an idea of what it is I'm talking about. And do a little screen share. Am I going to be sued? Oh, let's see. Am I going... The Liberty Phoenix asks, are you going to be sued for that because I played the little clip? No, because this is not a commercial broadcast. YouTube, or yeah, Peace News Now's videos are not monetized. The only things I do are through donations. So no, it's not a commercial broadcast, so you can't get in trouble. Hey, look, we got another caller. I love doing an after show. We get more calls this way. What's going on, Nathan? You're on Peace News Now. Calling in through Skype at Peace News Now.
Well, a bad website certainly doesn't necessarily have to be wrong, but it does make you a little less likely to stay and click around on it.
Yeah, look at this thing. Have you seen it? JaronLanier.com. I mean, whatever. What's this guy about? Have you heard about him? Is he a thing?
No, I haven't.
He's got books.
Well, what are his books on?
Let's see. The work and influence of Ted Nelson, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what any of this is about. Liberty Phoenix was asking about it. Oh, he was on the Colbert Report, apparently, recently, so maybe that's why he recently got a little blurb in the public spotlight. But he looks like a... I mean, I don't want to judge a book by its cover, but this guy, I would not take him seriously. I don't know why he was brought up, but he was in the chat room. Oh, no, okay. It wasn't Liberty Phoenix who was asking about him. It was... Kickstart. Anyway, what's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to talk about that jail story. I didn't hear the whole thing. I just caught the end of it. But you mentioned the thing about how all the guards mysteriously don't remember anything happening.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, you know, that was happening when I was in jail. There was a poor guy who had mental problems, and he was going around asking to use people's phones, so they called the cops, you know, to be like, hey, get this guy out some help. And instead of helping him, they threw him in jail. And he was in jail for weeks, and he kept winding up there again and again because the cops just pick him up, they throw him in the suicide watch, and then they tease him. He's a mentally disabled guy, or mentally challenged, whatever the PC term is, and the government armed bureaucrats just use them as a plaything.
Oh yeah, that is sad. But I guess what I was thinking of, or what I was reminded of by your story, was a quote I read a long time ago from David Friedman that really kind of touched me. And it wasn't really, I didn't actually read the story that he linked to, but it was about a guardian. It was a guardian story about a man being an innocent man being killed by police, basically like they thought he was a suicide bomber or something, and just gunned him down. And the quote that Friedman gave was some commissioner guy saying, well, I accept full responsibility. And I like the way he put it. He said, doesn't it strike you how empty his notion of responsibility is? An innocent person is dead, and he's not proposing that he be punished, that his staff be punished, that anyone be fired, in short, that anything happen to anybody.
Yeah.
In fact, you could almost say that when government officials say that kind of thing, what they really mean is not that they actually want to take responsibility. What they mean is, please go away and stop talking about this. Stop bugging me.
That's exactly right. They know the weasel words, to the magic words to make people go away. The police are well trained in weasel words. They know the special one. What did he say? If you can breathe, or if you can talk, you can breathe. That's one of their magic weasel words, because they say, well, they have plausible deniability when they murder someone. That's a murder tool. Another one is stop resisting. Well, he was resisting. I had to kill him. I was in fear for my life.
Stop hitting my fist with your face.
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
you could laugh, but this is how people die. These are murderers who get away with murder. And a story I didn't get to, this is a shocking one. I'm almost glad I didn't get to it, but hey, too late. I got to it now. It's a cop who, I can't find the headline anymore. Oh, yeah. Cop who solicited over 700 underage girls for sex gets a 1-year sentence.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, he had over 700. I'll just summarize it for you. It was at the free.
This is on duty, right?
No, he wasn't like going up to 700 different girls. He did go up to 20-some different girls, I believe, while he was on duty. Here, I've got the report for you. You got a minute? I don't know if you're running.
Oh yeah, sure. It's just a lot of these stories. Some of the outrage comes from the fact that police behave in an official manner when they're not actually on duty. Like they'll just run at someone, start shooting when they're in plain clothes off duty, and they won't identify themselves. I've read stories like that.
Yeah, well, here, I got the story from the Grand Forks Herald, who says, one previously sociable girl now keeps herself confined to her room. Another person has been hospitalized 4 times for mental health struggles. And third says she's lost trust in just about everyone she knows. Those are just a few of the ways life has changed for the girls. A former Minneapolis police officer solicited for sex online, according to the victim impact statement read by Bradley Schnickel's sentencing hearing Monday in Anoka County District Court. One girl's parents wrote that their 13-year-old daughter was pursued for more than a year by Schnickel, who repeatedly pressured her to send nude photos and meet him in person. Yikes. What Bradley. When Bradley was caught and eventually charged with crimes involving more than a dozen underage girls in February 2013, the parents wrote that the girl blamed herself. She was so ashamed. She was afraid and disappointed. She was afraid she had disappointed us. It broke our hearts, the parents said. So this father of 2, Mr. Bradley Schnickel, was sentenced to 30 months in prison. So let's see, with good time, it could be, I don't know, less than a year left. He's served about a year so far, I believe. So he's 33 years old, has 2, teenage daughters himself. Let's see, what's his story?
That kind of makes it worse somehow.
Yeah, accounting for the time already served and other factors, Bradley will end up spending a little more than a year in prison for 3 counts of criminal sexual conduct and 2 counts of electronic solicitation of a minor, to which he pleaded guilty. He was also sentenced to a lifetime conditional release once he leaves prison. Ooh, I'm sure they'll be really aggressive about that conditional release.
What's a conditional release?
A conditional release is like, oh, the police are going to visit you every once in a while. Make sure you're not soliciting minors for sex on the internet.
Weird.
Yeah.
See, the weird thing about these stories is that, a lot of times when you're talking about police cases, there's kind of the color of law factor that, these people are being charged to carry out their duty in the name of the public, and so they have to have some leeway in carrying, in identifying criminals and pursuing them. But this kind of lack of responsibility, it even extends to areas that are obviously not within their duties at all, like this one.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the law enforcement, it's just a nanny statism. It's like they're just the government mom and dad. And see, it says, I couldn't believe this. I'm trying to find the quote where after he was arrested, he solicited a prostitute. Yeah. He added that Bradley solicited a prostitute after his arrest and attempted to contact victims to persuade them to lie to police about their interactions.
That is an incredible double standard. I mean, anyone, if a normal person like you or I started trying to tamper with witnesses and I mean, soliciting a prostitute after he was arrested for this kind of crime.
Afterwards.
I mean, it just shows it shows that he himself must be aware that he doesn't really have to take it, that he's held to a different standard, right? Because no normal person would do something like that.
Oh my God. In some cases, he sent the girls lewd pictures of himself and described what he wanted to do with them sexually. On 2 occasions, he met girls in person and had sex with them in his car. One time, after providing vodka. A search of his computer uncovered more than 9,000 pages of communication between Bradley and underage girls. He had more than 700 middle and high school girls listed as contacts on his Facebook page.
Jeez.
Wow.
This is in the United States?
Minneapolis. Yep, Minneapolis. The United States, a new third world country. So anyway, I just had to report on that because, you know, when cops get caught ever, when they're ever punished, it's worth reporting on. But I think it's also worth reporting on their light sentence and how it doesn't make any sense for a reasonable person.
Like the lack of responsibility. Like, not only do they have it, but they know that they have it. So, you know, when those bureaucrats get up and they say, "I take full responsibility," they know that they're lying. They know that it's all just a show.
Great points. Hey, let's leave it there tonight, Nathan. Any other thoughts you want to share with the crowd?
No, that's all. Good night.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks again for calling in. We do appreciate your calls. Hey, everyone, this has been a lot of fun chatting with you on Peace News Now. Let's do it again next Sunday. This show will soon be broadcasting live from Keene in the Shire, starting, I move May 23rd. We're going to have lots of parties, celebration, and then the first episode happening in Keene, I'm putting it on my calendar right now, is happening on the 25th. So next Sunday I'll be coming back from New York. It'll be another exciting episode. Hope to have some fun guests and take your calls. But until next time, mwah, catch you later.